Our next guest is the true definition of resilience. Once a high school dropout, a young mom, even homeless, Anjelica Cazares turned every obstacle into fuel. She fought her way back, built her own business and nonprofit, and now she's empowering other women through the Latina Entrepreneurship Conference. It can help people find the mentorship, resources, and community to succeed. She joins us with Nancy Barrias, who turned her love of baking into a small business that's rising to the occasion. Good morning, ladies.
Good morning, Deborah.
I love your story. Like, it's one of those things where you wish you didn't have to go through it, but looking back, that is what told you what you were made of.
Yeah.
That everything is possible.
Well, no, thank you. I did. I dropped out at the age of 20, and then I thought I was too old to graduate. So I went back. Actually, a principal called me and said, "Hey, are you going to graduate or not?" And I was like, okay. So I did end up graduating, but I did drop out. Yeah. And then I had a son.
But you started out, though, behind the eight ball. You were the first generation Mexican American.
Correct.
Single mom, and you grew up in Houston's vibrant East End, but things were tough.
They were. I was, so I didn't necessarily have a home for me and my son. So I lived out of my car. And that's diapers in the back, and I'd go to my family's house, my sister's house, my aunt's house, to be able to take a shower, go to sleep, and then of course we go back in the car and still try to graduate high school.
Yeah, you knew that you wanted more, but you didn't know how to get there, and that kind of leads into why you formed these organizations, but I'm going to back up to that. So many people know they want more, they know they deserve more, they're willing to work for more.
Correct.
And meanwhile, your mom, growing up, she worked as a janitor, she was doing what she could to get you ahead, but it was a struggle, as I mentioned. You knew you wanted more, didn't know how to get there, and so direction, as we know, can get people places. Misdirection can get you in trouble. You got in trouble.
Correct. A lot.
Yeah, a lot.
Yeah. So I didn't want to go to school, and so as I heard you last time about dyslexia, you feel a little stupid, and you don't want to be there, so you don't want to make a note to everybody.
So were you
else.
dealing with dyslexia?
I was.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
To our point. Yeah. You feel stupid. You don't know how to reach out for help.
Yeah.
Your mom probably couldn't afford professional help, and so you ended up in alternative schools. Did anyone, just backing up on the dyslexia piece, did anyone ever figure out why you were struggling in school at the time?
No, they just know I didn't like school.
Yeah.
And so and that's exactly why, I didn't like school and I didn't want to be there. And so I left every opportunity that I could.
Yeah. And then you ended up in the alternative school, which is kind of like the last stop.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes. And that's where, of course, I think they understood that we had much more issues. And they were able to give us, the proper care.
Yeah, all right. You mentioned how things kind of changed when you turned the corner, because the hard thing was bouncing from place to place, no stable home, and with a child. I cannot imagine doing that with a child as well. But you got that life-changing call from your former principal, which I bless him or her for knowing that you were out there and catching up with you to say you only have a few credits to graduate.
Yep.
This can happen.
Yeah, he said you have a few credits to graduate. Are you going to do it or not do it? And I knew that I had a window of opportunity. The fact that he called me back, there was no way I was going to be able to go back if he never called me back.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So the moment when you got your diploma.
It was absolute. It was. I have pictures. They're Polaroids. They're blurry, but I hold them with me. And it means everything. Education means everything.
Yeah. You had a job working security at an old high school.
I did. I'm at my old high school. So when I graduated, I told him, and I had a friend who was in security. Of course, we made best friends because he would watch me walk out of the school. And he would be, and I told him, I was like, look, I need to support this kid. I want to go to college. He's like, well, the only thing I have is security. And I was like, perfect. They put me in a podium in the back, and I was able to do my homework back there and kind of just talk to kids and tell them, hey, if you're going to leave.
And you also had a better understanding of kids, the so-called kids who were in trouble.
Yes.
The so-called bad kids.
Well, we were called, back then we were called at-risk youth.
Yeah. All right. So you had a dream of becoming a journalist, and you met your now husband, Juan Elanese, who's also in the business of communications.
Yes.
And so things start unfolding then. But you had a mental health block. After 3 years, you needed to take a break. And a situation happened that you couldn't deal with. A lot of us have been through those things, but you gave yourself permission to say, I got to take a break and reassess some things. And I would imagine some of the stuff you had to reassess is everything that happened to you leading up until that point.
Correct. So one of the things that I tell people, this is the only way I could describe my mental health, was that I had agoraphobia. I would sit at a just like this, like a couch, and I would look at the front door and hope I didn't have to pee because I would have a panic attack on the way to the restroom. So I would sit there for about 8 hours, and I would, even picking up my school from across the street, my legs would turn like noodles. I knew there was something wrong.
Yeah, depressed and anxious. You stopped driving, stopped working, stopped getting out. You said agoraphobia stayed inside, but you thought, at one point, I cannot leave this physical world because I have a kid. I need help. And you reached out for help. No shame in that. And then what you decided to do is reach out and help others. So let's start with the first idea of how can I help other people who are going through a tough journey to get to where they can be?
Absolutely. I think one of the first questions that people don't think about is what does your life look like if money was an object? A lot of people, you think they would say, I would stay in bed all day. And I'm like, well, would you really?
No.
They'd be like, no, I wouldn't. No, I wouldn't. I was, what would you do? Well, I remember reading something about kids who have autism, and they seem to navigate towards horses, and horses are empathetic to them. Is that something you would want to do? They're like, yeah. So that gets the ball rolling.
Right.
That's when they start to understand and notice that if really, truly money was an object, what would you do? Those are the steps you take forward to actually want to do something for yourself. To me, it was pay for my son's college.
Yeah, things that define you really are those things that your heart wants, right? All right, you started the Latina Entrepreneurship Conference.
I did.
So the idea behind that, you're sitting there so patiently, we're going to get to you in a minute.
Yes,
you got cookies, I want to talk
Nancy's
to you.
one of our entrepreneurs.
Yeah, so and when you started that conference, you realized that there was another group out there. And so people will ask, why just Latina Entrepreneurship Conference?
No, it's not just Latina. It's called the Latina Entrepreneurship Conference because I want them to know exactly where United from. It came from the brains and the resources of Latinas. And that's it. We have men who actually come to our conference, women of any stage of anywhere where they are in their journey, especially though for those who actually come from a low resource background.
Yeah, there's just different things you can share, whether it's even the culture, the language, the nuances of the culture, all of that, where you can be a Latina and be in leadership roles as well.
Which is why we make sex accessible, $25 to be able to attend, and we actually have brunch at the Rustic right next door.
Wow. Okay. You have Amigas and Friends Network.
Correct. Yes, Amigas and Friends Networks dedicates, of course, to the girls just like me who were teenagers who didn't want to be there anymore. We go in, we have something called the Dream Builders. We show them what financial literacy, what it actually is, what it means, and just have conversations with them, make sure we give them lunch and make sure we sit down with them and have the conversations. Then we have something else called Classroom by Classroom, where we go into a classroom, we ask the kids and the teachers, what is it that you need for your classroom for you to have a successful year? And then we keep retouching up with them every 2 to 3 months to make sure they still have their items. So we don't just give them the school backpack, which is amazing, right? But those resources deplete. They still need to continue support.
Yeah. And sometimes they just need to know that somebody believes in them. And when a stranger can believe in you, then it's sometimes easier to believe in yourself, right?
It is. It holds them accountable, and they know we're going to show up in 3 months.
Yeah, right. All right. Nancy, born and raised in Houston, you always loved baking. You're the mom of 4. You worked at HEB for a while, and then the idea in your head that you could do your own thing, where did that come from?
It basically came from just being a stay-at-home mom. It happened after the pandemic. That's when I started, the passion was, and I figured it was hard to find a job where they could work with my schedule. So I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna go ahead and start my own business. And that's how the love came about baking and things like that.
Which is the reason why so many moms, right, if they have enough kids, I mean, what daycare for each child is ridiculous, right?
Exactly.
So you could do that and something that you loved. Okay, so there's a difference between loving baking and deciding I'm going to have a business with baking, because people can sometimes be thwarted by there's cookies already out there, right?
Exactly.
What made you say, but my cookies are special?
I think I get a lot of people telling me about how like pretty they are. They're so pretty that they're just, you cannot eat it because it's just beautiful edible art.
Yeah, and by the way, these types of sugar cookies can last a long time. I know.
Yes, they do.
Yeah, I've had mine for a while. I'm like, I'm finally gonna bite into it, but I'm gonna. This is like a pumpkin latte one right here.
Yes.
All types of different cool themes. So besides being cookies, they're also pieces of artwork. And look at, see that one that says "Great Day, Houston."
Yeah.
Okay,
Yes.
I'm not ever biting into that one, right? But that's cool because you can make cookies for all types of situations, for companies and a whole bit, right?
Exactly.
Okay,
But
take me through the process of starting and then getting your first sale.
well, I started getting my first sale after I decided to do like just a cookie box for a holiday, and then that's when I started to see, you know what, I can actually do this as a business. So
You're
that's
So good. I'm sorry, this cookie is so good. And you were involved with the conference as well, and so this is the result of going there and networking with people and getting encouraged.
Yes, actually, this is my third year going. The first year I actually went virtual, and the second year I went in person. Today, in this year will be my third year, and I love the community. I just love that they have the resources and the tools for us to grow.
Yeah. Okay. This is actually, so it has like looks like a pumpkin latte on here. It actually tastes like pumpkin latte. This is really, really good. Ladies, thank you so much.
Thank you.
The Latina Entrepreneurship Conference is taking place this Saturday from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. at the George R. Brown Convention Center. You'll be alongside more than 500 entrepreneurs with expert speakers, panels, and workshops designed to help your business grow and to thrive. For tickets, visit latinaconference.com, latinaconference.com.